Hi guys, so this is my Wallhack Skypad 4.0 that I've been using for 2 weeks now, and in this video I'll try to do my best to answer all the mysteries surrounding the glide properties of the new Skypad. Let's first discuss what has changed other than the company name. Well, of course, the first thing you are going to notice is the new packaging, which is, not gonna lie, very premium. I feel like this will protect my Skypad really well whenever it's lying on my shelf while I'm testing other pads. The second thing they updated is the size. Compared to the sizing of the 3.0, this thing is slightly taller and less wide. So this is now 490 x 430 instead of the 500 x 400, which were the measurements of the XL size 3.0. This means basically that if you want to put an artisan pad on some days on top of this, it will suit this size better than the 3.0. Then we finally have a full-on silicone base with this thing, and it is really good. It provides more grippiness to the desk, dampens the sound a bit, and removes the center flex that was sometimes happening on the 3.0. Then lastly, the surface is a bit different. The newer surface is smoother, tiny bit faster, and less sticky on your arm. At least I've been able to play with it without a sleeve. That was not possible at all on the previous model. I still prefer to use a sleeve with glass pads, but at least now it's not a complete necessity. But I briefly mentioned the speed of the pad. And this topic is something that has sparked some controversy. People have made a lot of different claims about the friction properties, and I've seen some even mention that it could have a break-in period of some sort. So to unravel these mysteries, the first thing I did with this pad is I measured the friction properties, and at the same time I also measured my 3.0 friction properties with the same methods, with the same mouse, and now with some weight applied, because it's easier to see the difference with more weight on the mouse, and with glass pads I don't have to think about the base affecting the results at all. But yeah, after taking the measurements, I sealed the mouse and the Skypad 3.0 away for these past 2 weeks, so nothing could wear down the skates of that mouse or anything could affect the Skypad 3.0 properties. This way I could have a solid baseline, and if the Skypad 3.0 results would be any different with the next measurements I took, I could see how much the changes in the environment, like the temperature, humidity, would affect the results. And what I found after doing the measurements after 2 weeks of use is that the Skypad 4.0 does not have a break-in period at all. I basically got the exact same results with the 3.0 and the 4.0 on both testing days. Then, how fast is the new Skypad compared to the previous version? Well, honestly, it kinda depends on your skates you're using. A small disclaimer first though, the real experience can vary from these numbers I show you, and there are a bunch of different factors affecting the friction. So if your experience varies greatly from these numbers, please don't get pissed. But yeah, what I found after doing tests with a bunch of different skates is that because the surface is so smooth, the skates have a really small effect on the speed of the pad. Between the core pads, Jade Dots and the Obsidian Pros, all of them had basically the same static friction coefficient, but with Obsidian Pros the dynamic friction was a bit higher. In real use, the weight applied on the mouse can be higher or lower depending on your grip style, so this difference between skates can be non-existent or bigger. On the Skypad 3.0 however, the texture of the pad is much more coarse, and the harder your skates are, the more of that texture you will feel and the friction will be higher. This is very clear from the fact that the Obsidian Pros on the 3.0 are much more slower than the rest of the skates. It's also very apparent while doing A and B testing between those pads. So, based on my testing, the 4.0 is a bit faster pad than the 3.0, especially with the Obsidian Pro skates. And the static friction coefficient with the Obsidian Pro skates were around 28% smaller than with the 3.0, and with the rest of the skates the difference was a lot smaller. And as for the dynamic friction goes, the difference was around 20%, and for example with the Jade Dots the difference was only 9%. But now that the numbers are out, I want to point out again that these are just numbers that act as a proof that the 4.0 I have is a bit faster, and the differences between the 4.0 and the 3.0 depend a lot on the skates you use. And also, the pad doesn't have any break-in period as far as my measurements hold true. That being said, I also seen some interesting things about the units that were sent out to people, and those seem to have some sort of inconsistencies with the service. Sadly, I didn't receive a review sample so I could do testing between a pre-production sample and this retail unit, but I truly hope we see some testing done soon within the community. But lastly, my user experience with this pad has been really good. I've enjoyed using this pad a lot, and funnily enough, I managed to finally achieve the master rank in Wallhack benchmarks with the combo of this new pad and the GPX2 with core pads. With this combo, my smoothness went up and my target switching felt just really precise and fast, and yeah, I finally achieved master. I've also enjoyed using this pad in Apex, and especially tracking feels super nice with it. My favorite combo is probably using something with core pads with this pad, since the experience is just very smooth. The Obsidian Pros are better suited for this kind of class than the 3.0, and I've also enjoyed using them with it a lot. While I like this newer Skypad a lot, I still believe that if you are currently on the 3.0, there is little to no reason to upgrade to the 4.0, since at the end of the day, glass is glass and the speed differences are always gonna be so small that you will be able to adjust to them quite quickly. But I think that's all I want to talk about in this video. So thanks for watching and see you in the next video. Goodbye.